with a lot of cryptozoology is we always ask, well, what did the scientists have to say about it? And usually there is no big scientific study on it because scientists can't make any money that way. They get paid to do research on other things. And there doesn't seem to be, that's why we have so many amateur scientists looking at phenomena like this, because people, the other guys aren't getting paid for it. Sandhill cranes most likely would not be in that area in the winter months where most of the Mothman sightings were, unless it was out of some sort of migration path. It is an area where you might find sandhill cranes, but usually not in November and December. The other thing is I have no accounts whatsoever that, people went in there and they found nests in the TNT area and stuff like that, or they found footprints or anything like that to tell me that there were sandhill cranes in that. You still need evidence if you're going to say something is an alternate explanation for something like sandhill cranes. You need to prove the sandhill cranes were there somehow. But that seems to be the way it kind of got blown off. Since then, Mothman's become very popular. They have a festival every year. I think this one is in September. I think it's the third weekend in September that they have the Mothman Festival. Huge festival. Mothman did help bring prosperity to the town. They have a Mothman museum. They got a really nice statue. It's about 12-foot statue, metallic. And right now the butt on the statue is getting very shiny because people keep petting his butt. So that's kind of funny, I thought. It's like there's statues of dogs in England where the dog's head is shiny because people pet the statue of the dog. I suspect this is what's happening to Mothman's butt on the statue. But they do that. Now there's some little glory borrowing in the Chicago area going on about this. And originally this was called a phantom of some sort. Let me see if I got the name here. They were calling it something else, the Chicago Phantom. And that was described as having bat wings. You do have a convergence, again, of rivers in some of the area. Some of this was in the north side of Chicago, around O'Hare Airport. And there is a lake by O'Hare. So you could have water birds. Mothman's kind of stocky, too, and he has kind of a shuffling gait, which could very well be a bird it's disturbed at night and it's going to shuffle forward. And again, they will bob their head. They will raise their wings to kind of look threatening. We know that Canada geese can make it back up really fast. So if you see something large like this and it's hissing or making a screeching sound at you, you're going to get out of the way. You're not going to hang around with it. So you've gotten some of these sightings in Nebraska. Nebraska, I think, is a better candidate for the sandhill cranes because that's where most of them wind up going eventually. But that's pretty much it for that. I could do the science on it as far as there's really no physical evidence that there's a Mothman. There's not even a good photograph of anything like this. The only footprints could have possibly have been, and again, sandhill cranes have like 3 toes. And they kind of smear in the mud. So, like I said, pretty large bird. That could have been the footprints, but we don't even have footprints that are supposed to be Mothman's. There's nothing. There's no feathers, nothing with it. You have people saying it's going to chase the cars at 75 to 100 miles per hour, and that's not normal sandhill crane behavior. They'll hiss and screech at you, and then they'll get away from you because they don't want to be by humans. Most wildlife does not want to be by humans. As for the dog, who knows what happened with the dog? We don't know what if there was a body. We don't know what condition it was in. We don't know if it had been attacked by something, if it had been hit by a car because they saw the body by the road, and what dragged the body off. It could have been any scavenger that did that, so not necessarily Mothman. So just going from the evidence that is there, you can't really prove something exists unless you have physical evidence. You can't prove it doesn't exist by lack of evidence either, on the other hand. So I just thought I'd give both sides on that. The sandhill crane explanation isn't quite doing it for me either. The other thing I'd like to say, if you're into cryptozoology, I think right now the worst thing that happened to cryptozoology has been the artificial intelligence, the AI images. You watch any show on cryptozoology now, and they have all these AI dogmen and all this Bigfoot and whatever. They're not the actual photos, and a lot of times they don't follow the original description of anything. My big example for when I was teaching the kids this stuff was lake monsters. You have lake monsters described as being giant turtles, giant fish, giant serpents. Eventually, they're all going to wind up looking like plesiosaurs because that's what people expect to see. And same thing with Mothman. Most of the images you see of Mothman, you're getting antenna. Now, I got a Mothman shirt on. I don't know if you guys can see it. This is one of my favorite designs. But they drew him to look like a moth. So most of the things with Mothman, you describe him almost as being like kind of furry or covered with feathers and looking like a Bigfoot with wings, which doesn't seem at all likely to get air, go up in the air. And it doesn't flap to go up in the air, it just goes straight up. So that doesn't follow how any bird moves either. So that's basically all I have to say.
Thank you very, very much. I'm looking forward to your further researches, because I think when we were last talking about this, you were weighing the sandhill crane, and it seemed like it could go either way. So I'm glad you decided in one direction.
Well, I went back to the original animal, and it's like, all right, that isn't sandhill crane behavior. That's not in their migratory path. There's no evidence that they built nest in the TNT area. Like if a couple had gone there at night and disturbed its nest, I could see it being kind of a little more protective and territorial about it. But there's nothing, and if there was any physical